It is Thursday night, and you know what that means. It is NEPs night in America. Let's do the thing, shall we? Showtime. Paul Strickland Jr. up here in the broadcast booth alongside me, Aaron Creed. We're out here in Japan. We're doing a little super speedway racing, the 1.5, a little bit bigger than a 1.5 mile super speedway out in Japan. Twin ring Montegi, not sure how to say it. We'll figure it out, I'm sure, at some point tonight for sure. We're here for the NineSix Industries 65 lapper. 65 laps on the board, looking like Brent Roy on top of the starting grid with a 37.02. Qualifying's pretty tight up here, Aaron.
Yeah, konnichiwa. Did I say that correctly? On this hazy afternoon, and yeah, very close. 6 hundredths of a second separating the top five. Although once qualifying concludes, if that fifth place in qualifying man remains there, he'll be going to the back of the field once again. And we saw quite the rally from the point leader and two-time champ John Peters last week.
Gotta love when we do things live, and we've got a lot of the drivers tuning in tonight, so make sure you check in on the Facebook chat, the YouTube chat, the Twitch chat. Finally figured out the multi-screaming over to Twitch. We're live on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/strictly94. A lot of Grand Theft Auto content and stuff like that over there as well. But gotta give a call to Brent Roy, the current pole sitter so far, if he holds on to it for another couple of seconds here as we wrap up qualifying. It's Mo-Tegi. And I guess the dash is silent, so it's Motegi. Twin Wing Motegi is the name of the racetrack we're at here tonight. Knew we'd get it figured out by the end of the show, and we've got that behind us. We've got 65 laps on the board, and we're getting ready to close out the season. One more race after this one at Dover, one of the Northeast racetracks in Delaware. 100 laps on the board for that one for the Shift Marketing and Design Championship Showdown next week, and that is going to be one heck of a show. Before we get there, though, we got to get going here, and we're going to take a look at the starting lineup. You can see it there on your screen. Brent Roy, the Canadian, the number 26 car, did indeed get the pole here for the NineSix Industries 65. Steve Daddio in the 99, going to start second.
Yeah, row two, Ryan Messer, another stellar qualifying run. We saw him hang on to a good top five run last week. Ryan Libby was the hard luck driver of a week ago. He'll start in fourth, trying to secure a win before the season's out. There's John Peters. He'll be going to the back once again, and that'll move Zane Farrell, Keith Lord, Brandon Newhouse up just a little bit with Dale Glessner and Corey Casagrande rounding out the top 10.
Dylan Kopech with a solid qualifying effort, starting just outside the top 10 in 11th. Right outside of him, the number 56 of Evan Bollier, going to try and get his way up towards the front. There you see Kenny Kibbe, John Miller right in behind them. Magnum Mike Hopkins in the 78 going to start in 15th. Cody LeBlanc, Austin Belkey, Jason Rickard, Dan Winter, Scott McDonald rounding out the top 20.
And DJ Girard, Ryan Salvatore starting to round out what I believe is going to be a 25-car field. There's Charles Lewandowski, Jeffrey Brown, and Brian Shipp rounding out your starting lineup. And this is going to be interesting because we see drivers like Kenny Kibbe and Evan Bollier, who we've seen run right up there in the top five, starting pretty deep in the pack. So it's going to be fun to see them try to move through the field. Austin Belkey, not necessarily the best qualifier ever, but we see him in the thick of it as well before the race is over.
And there you can see John Peters dropping onto the back. He's got that RSAL TV Championship Challenge. He's going to be dropping to the end of the field, starting in the back after qualifying in fifth. If he's able to make a podium, $50 gets donated to Racing for GNG's gift. There you see it on the quarter panel of the car. And if he wins, $100 courtesy of RSAL TV gets donated in there as well. So that's going to be pretty cool. We're taking a look at the front. These guys getting ready to go green flag racing all the way on the other side of the world out in Japan. Twin ring Motegi out in Japan, super speedway racing. It's a little bit foggy, but we are racing green flag in the air. We are down and away.
Yep, they're going to sweep into turn one here. Brent Roy looks like he's going to get the advantage to start, and Ryan Messer already working his way under the 99 of Stephen Daddio. Looks like things shuffled a little bit from qualifying. Ryan Libby, I believe, looks like he's decided to start in the back as well. And we see Zane Farrell right there. Dale Glessner getting a little out of control there, and we got trouble.
Big time problems in the pack for the number 10 car. Looks like a couple of other cars collected as well. Looks like the 12 of Ryan Salvatore may have gotten a piece of it, and there's a little bit more smoke to add to the racing action here at the racetrack. And we'll take a look at, well, we're going to skip the instant replay here because we are going to work on something because that's how live works.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a long yellow here just to get things sorted out. But Brent Roy and Stephen Daddio are, when we go back to green, are going to be running back up front, and both of them looking for a win. Brent Roy already has a win so far in this season. Stephen Daddio running in second. One driver that we don't want, that's not in the field today, but the NineSix Industries representing that, Wyatt Alexander, doesn't look like he was able to make it out here to Japan this evening, but shout out to him for sponsoring this particular event.
Yeah, and it's always great to see different drivers bringing up a lot of the real-life sponsors that help support them and a lot of their own companies jumping in and supporting the sim racing hobby that we have here. And it's great to see 25 drivers here in the field. One race to go after this one, the Shift Championship. Shift Marketing and Design Championship 100 next week. 2 weeks from now. We finally got clarification on the schedule. I know it was a little bit jumbled up last week. We are racing this week because here we are. We're live on Vidane TV, and we're off next week for the Hickory race, which I think actually got canceled due to a tire shortage, if I read the rumors right on that. But that's a tough break for the folks down there. But going to be racing in 2 weeks. Going to be having ourselves a championship showdown. John Peters having his way with the championship points coming into tonight. Almost a 50-point lead over second place Evan Bollier. Zane Farrell dropping back to third after last week's race. And we can take a look. Zane Farrell up in the top 5 right now in that 14 car. Warming the tires up just a little bit. A whole heck of a lot, using the entire racetrack to make sure those tires are nice and scuffed. Ryan Messer right in front of him in the 1 car. Running in third, the top 3 just like they qualified. Brandon Newhouse up 3 spots into the top 5. Keith Lord, Mr. Corey Casagrande running in 7th. Dylan Kopech, Kenny Kibbe, Mike Hopkins rounding out the top 10 so far.
Yeah, we're going to get ready to go back to green here just shortly. A little bit of a slow start to this evening so far, but things are going to get pretty interesting here very shortly. Tough break early on for Dale Glessner and a couple others that were swept into things. But, yeah, they're doubling up, and we're getting ready to go.
Scott McDonald in the 44 car down on pit road, getting some service, getting some repairs done to that machine. Looks like he may potentially lose a lap here. Nope, they are going to let him go around the pace car. So the lights are off. We're lined up 2 by 2. In behind that iRacing Mustang pace car, lights are off. Brent Roy, Steve Daddio going to lead him down and away there. And those are a couple of drivers that have really picked up steam here in the second half of the season. And Brent Roy really showing that he is a powerhouse on these super speedways. Came home with a victory at Daytona earlier on in the season and showed had a strong showing in the Super Truck Series on the big tracks as well. So great to see Brent up front in that number 26 car. Steve Daddio on the 99 right next to him. Ryan Messer, really known for some short track racing. A lot of Tim's Corner Motorsports events for that driver. Zane Farrell right on the outside of him, and Brandon Newhouse rounding out the top 5. And speaking of Tim's Corner Motorsports, got a lot of events, or a handful of events, coming up for those guys here live on Vidane TV. Be sure to check out the schedule, as well as Eastbound Esports getting ready to wrap up the Winter iRacing Series, because we're getting ready to go racing all across North America. But before we get there, we still got to finish up this race here in Japan. 65 laps on the docket, 4 down, going to cross the stripe to start lap number 5. There goes the pace car, going to go grab a corn dog and a Coke, and we are down and away. Green flag racing once again. You can see they're back in the picture. Scott McDonald just barely able to get up to the back of the field, but he's going to hold on to it. Brent Roy going to take the lead, and it looks like we're going to try and get single file up here for the first 4 cars.
Yeah, we'll see about that. It's a very wide racetrack for sure, especially on the front stretch, but here on the back stretch as well. So it might not be very long, as there you can see Ryan Messer getting out of position there and diving up below Steven Daddio and taking second. Zane Farrell's going to try to follow through as well. Doesn't look like that outside line has really come in at the moment.
Seeing a couple of drivers get up into the outside wall, give it a little bit of a kiss, but they're going to keep going. No harm, no foul. Didn't really slow anybody down or affect the handling too much. And you can see there's already a couple of different lines going through this racetrack, going through the corners, and it almost seems like all the drivers are able to kind of meet down at that white line as they come back out. And you can see here 6, 7, 8, 9 cars, almost 10 cars, single file, little conveyor belt action here at Twin Ring. And there's a lot of different ways you can use this track. There's a lot of different lines that you can utilize, and these drivers know it. There's been a lot of practice laps that have been put down here, even today on the last 45 minutes of happy hour practice just before the race here. And some of these drivers have put in really hundreds of tracks at this, or hundreds of laps rather, at this racetrack.
Yeah, some of them had experience at last year's race, which was, I believe, 55 laps long, so 10 laps longer for this evening compared to last year. And no big surprise, but Mr. John Peters was the winner in last year's event, and he is already up to, I believe, 12th spot. So he is working his way through the pack pretty quickly, 13th to be exact. And we got a little bit of a mix-up here. Is that our leader, Brent Roy?
Well, it was. Now he's not the leader any longer, and that's going to give a couple of positions. You saw John Peters able to drive on through that, and I think that actually put him into the top 10. But we can take a look at the U-House Race Designs instant replay to find out about what went down with our leader in the 26 car.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Looks like there might have been contact here among Roy and Messer, potentially. Looks like a little bit of a chain reaction. Farrell kind of bumped Messer just a little bit, which bumped into Roy. So a little bit of a chain reaction deal. It was just the lightest amount of contact, too. And as you can see, with it being a light amount of contact, they all were able to pretty much keep, going straight instead of falling out of control. So that's the good news, is not, even though Roy and a few of our early leaders are further back in the pack now, they're still going to be they don't have much damage, we'll just say, and not even really on the cosmetic side, as we see Roy and Messer are moving back up through the field here.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at timing and scoring and find out where they get themselves scored, but you can see Brent Roy, Ryan Messer both moving back up into the top 5. Looks like they're going to hold on to 4th and 5th, allegedly. Now you can see Brent Roy going all the way down to the inside. Looks like he's maybe potentially taking an inside end of the longest line. Tough to tell. We'll get it sorted out here. Got another lap or so under caution. But the big news now, up 5 spots from where he qualified. The number 14 car, Zane Farrell, up in the lead, and he's got Ryan Messer in behind him. So he was going to be able to take that second spot back. Steve Daddio, Brandon Newhouse, and Brent Roy looks like he's going to settle in 5th after that incident.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get ready to double up here shortly. We had to get those... we had to get those crew members on the radio with the racers to say, hey, this is where you need to line up. we see that sometimes at the local short tracks and during yellow flags for sure. So, but yeah, Zane Farrell and Ryan Messer going to start on the front row here once we go back to green. A lot of drivers looking to have some of their best runs of the year. And as we start to... conclude this season, finish it off on a high note, we have drivers like Dylan Kopech, Corey Casagrande, Corey LeBlanc, Keith Lord, and Kenny Kibbe rounding out the top 10 at the moment.
And we made mention one more race after here tonight. Going to be racing at Dover for 100 laps for the championship showdown, brought to you by Shift Marketing and Design. That's going to be 2 weeks away from tonight. It'll be NEPs Night in America for the very last time this season, and it's looking like John Peters, the reigning, defending 2-time champ, is going to be called Champ. We're going to have to come up with a cooler nickname, I think, than Champ. That sounds a little bit... Not quite as serious as it should be. The 3-time champ. We'll figure it out. We got 2 weeks to figure it out for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say I think we can use the entire off season to think of something. No reason to be on the spot, right?
100%. But it's great to see these drivers still holding on to it. All 25 drivers still on the lead lap. Scott McDonald coming off pit road just a little bit late once again in that 44 car, getting some of that damage fixed from an earlier incident. But he's going to rejoin the tail end of the field and get up and get dirty with these guys up in the front. Zane Farrell going to start on the inside of row number 1. Ryan Messer on the outside. Steve Daddio, Brandon Newhouse, and Brent Roy going to be the top 5. And we've seen these drivers after the restart kind of get single file relatively quickly here, but we're really starting to tick off these laps, especially after the second caution here. So we'll see what these drivers are going to do. They want to get up towards the front, and they know they can utilize this entire racetrack. All sorts of lines from the bottom all the way up to the high side. But we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out live. The pace car is down and away. We are green flag racing once again, and look at that jump from Zane Farrell in the 14.
Yeah, some of these drivers up front are very hungry to get their first win of the season. It's like 4 out of the top 5 right now, if Kopech can secure 5th here from Brent Roy, have not won this season. So Zane Farrell's been ultra consistent all year long, but has not visited victory lane. So he's going to be looking for that. Ryan Messer, who joined us about halfway through the season, is running second, having a good run, and we got a good battle going on here as Kopech has slipped up just a little bit. It's allowed Corey Casagrande to go by. Here comes Corey LeBlanc, and Dylan Kopech's trying to get back in line here, or maybe he's going to continue trying out that outside line. You know, that line's not going to come in unless people start trying it.
100%. We've seen Dylan Kopech try a lot of things, very comfortable all the way across the racetrack and comfortable trying new and exciting things on the racetrack with the race car. And right now that high line not quite working. Got passed by a pair of 7s with LeBlanc and Corey Casagrande for 6th and 7th. And you can see Kibbe in the 4 car. Down in the bottom of the racetrack, he's going to bring the other 7 car with him. Nope, just kidding. That's a 17 at Keith Lord.
Yeah, we got a lot going on here, you know, mid-pack it seems like, but John Peters right in the middle of it. So right now Peters is trying out that outside line, and Ryan Libby, who started in the back with Peters, is moving on up as well as they both work to the outside of Mike Hopkins there in the 78. And this is knocking on the door for a top 10 spot. Hopkins under Kopech for 10th. Peters looks like he's going to try to slide through, as is Libby. And lots going on here right around this 10th position. Peters isn't done yet.
Busy racetrack here at Twin Ring, and you can see Peters down on the bottom side trying to get around the 78 car of Magnum Mike Hopkins. You can see he's able to get around Libby, but Libby holding on to the high side right on the quarter panel. He's able to kind of stretch the corners out just a little bit and run right up towards the wall, and you can see that helps him out on the exit and really gives him a good run heading down these long straightaways, about 1.5 miles, a little bit better than 1.5 miles, depending on which league or which racing series you look at. It's either 1.52 or 1.53 miles around this track, depending on which measurement you look at. Looked it up on Wikipedia. I didn't even know you could do that with racetracks.
Oh yeah, that's sometimes that's my go-to when I'm trying to do research. So here we see the speed shot. Oh, now we're going back to Peters and Libby. Once again, they just seem to be on quite the Thursday evening drive here, having a good old time, despite being just outside the top 10 right now. Just seems like they're just trying things out and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work, and something might not have worked there for Corey LeBlanc as he slips back, but Evan Bollier, we haven't said much about him right yet today, but he is riding there in the 15th spot as Kopech continues to fall back, and they're almost 3 wide behind them.
3 wide in front, 3 wide behind. Oh my goodness, race cars all over the racetrack. The front 10, about single file, but everybody's racing to try and get up into that top 10 to get up a little bit closer to the front. You can see John Peters still trying to pick them off, just barely outside the top 10. The 46 car Libby gets down and around once again, and he's going to hold on to the 11th spot for right now, and that's going to be our hard charger for right now so far. John Peters starting shotgun on the field back in 25th position, already up to P11 here on lap number 17, and up front, Zane still holding on to it and looking pretty good in that the white, pink, and blue, kind of a cotton candy looking race car. It's not quite the pretty and pink race car we've seen him earlier on in the season and last season, but still a very pretty race car.
Yes, it's the Pink Lady, if I remember. It's known as, but that Pink Lady's got a number one all over the back of him, and now peeking to the outside of him. Ryan Messer looking very fast. He was fastest in practice, I believe, and he nudges the wall that time by though. But he was fastest in practice, was in the top five right there in qualifying. He has been one of those cars to beat, and Brandon Newhouse having a great run today in the third spot as well, with Steven Daddio in tow.
Front four cars, bumper to bumper for the lead, all chasing down Zane Farrell in the 14 car. Back in the fifth position, little bit of a dogfight. 7CT of Corey Casagrande holding on to that fifth spot. He's up 5 spots from where he qualified back in 10th, but he's got a mirror full of Kenny Kibbe. Now he's got a left side full of Kenny Kibbe as he gets down on the bottom side, all the way down to that white line, going to try and get that position, bringing Brent Roy back up there with him. Brent slid on back to about 7th or 8th place after that little bit of an incident there from the lead between he and the one car of Ryan Messer. Hasn't quite fully recovered just yet, but still trying to gain positions, trying to at least get back into the top 5. Has a couple of cars in front of him before he gets there, but he's definitely well on his way.
Yeah, long way to go still. Still not even a third of the way done yet. But Kenny Kibbe, give a call to him up into fifth spot. He's pretty much the hard charger so far. I believe he started outside the top 15. So Kenny Kibbe has really charged through this field. And once again, showing his strength that we've seen week in and week out in this series. And he's actually stretching it over Corey Casagrande. And he's going to set his sights on the front four now, which remain Farrell, Messer, Uhouse, and Daddio.
Clean air in front of the 4 car, clean racetrack as well, and he's got a little bit of a sight able to see what those front 4 drivers are doing to be so fast, to be up in the front 4, and you can see they're pretty much all down on the bottom of the racetrack, but the best way to get faster is to look at the guy in front of you and see what they're doing differently. Do a little bit of homework, see where you're quicker, where you're slower, where you can improve, and where they might make a mistake here on lap number 21. And you can see Ryan Messer doing just about that, trying to take a peek down low, looking up high in that one car, trying to see if he can get around the current leader, Zane Farrell, in the 14.
Still a lot of ways to go. No reason to get impatient here, but Ryan Messer has definitely shown to Zane, hey, I'm right here. Don't bobble. But now we see some more battles going on as Ryan Libby's starting to move his way back up. He's up to 8th. John Peters up to 10th. Keith Lord trying to keep Peters at bay here very shortly. And we're going to start, it seems like we're going to start seeing the cream rise to the top as we normally see once again here at Motegi. We do still have a few surprises up front, but they're going to have some very fast racers to contend with before this is over.
Another driver making moves quietly throughout the field is going to be the 9 car of Jason Ricker, currently under attack by Bollier in the 56, but Ricker up 5 spots from where he qualified, currently holding on to that 13th position with his eyes set on the top 10 rather. DJ Gerard a little bit further out in front of him. You can see he's got about 8-10 car lengths in that 13 car, and he's holding on to it. He's got a little bit of a clear racetrack, a little bit of a gap between he and Magnum Mike Hopkins up there in the 10th spot. But clean racetrack is one of the best things that these drivers can do, and you can see the clean racetrack, that's going to go to Ryan Messer because he gets around Zane Farrell for the lead.
Yeah, very interesting right here. We've seen Messer challenging for several laps now, and now he gets the top spot. Zane Farrell's going to drop back a couple car lengths, but he's going to zoom in here again, going into the corner. I don't think he's quite done yet. We also see the position number 3 swapped, as Daddio up to 3rd with Uhouse back to 4th. And now Uhouse is going to try not to fall into the clutches of Kibbe. Kibbe's still about a second back as we ride with Zane Farrell in the number 14. And still staying within the tracks of Messer, but definitely second place when this race is over is not the spot you want to be. And look at those engine revs as we go into the corner. Really kicking up those RPMs here at Motegi.
Just about 9,300 RPM at the end of the straightaway, and you can hear just how much Zane is letting off the throttle getting into the corners, and you can see he seems like he's letting off just a little bit earlier than Ryan Messer, because as he gets back onto the throttle, you can see really starts to close that gap on the onto the one car of Ryan Messer, but there you can see Messer pulls away just a little bit. But definitely a very technical racetrack here, as you can see Daddio now on the inside of Farrell in that 14 car. He's going to move that 99 up to P2, and you can tell the tires are starting to wear just a little bit because these drivers backing the corners up, trying to get as much grip as they can, trying to hold on to the positions that they're in.
Yeah, this track's not used very often, but keep in mind that this track is, at least 15 years old now. So it is some worn out asphalt that is on this speedway. So, yeah, it eats up those tires for sure. And we're going to be closing in about 6 laps towards halfway. So, they've almost gotten halfway home with the tires that they're on right now, but we've had a long green flag run here. We're going to be interesting to see what kind of strategy plays out if we continue under green, or if the yellow comes out. I think we might see a parade down pit road if that's the case.
Long green flag run after a pair of cautions early on. Everybody sorting it out here, and you can see pretty much single file throughout the field. Cody LeBlanc going to come down in the 7 car. One of the 7 cars, 3 7 cars to be exact, in the field here tonight. Going to get some right side tires, probably going to get some left side tires there as well. And that tells me these drivers are all going to have to come down pit road at least one time here. And we might see a slew of green flag pit stops as we get closer and closer to halfway. And you can see there John Peters in that 09 car, up to 7th. Just got around Brent Roy at 4th position. He's going to set his sights now on, he's going to keep his sights on Ryan Libby, because Libby and Peters kind of going through the field together here.
Yeah, it's quite possible we might see some more pit stops here soon, because it really does look like everyone's kind of tiptoeing through the corners here a little bit. But Peters having a good run once again in 7th, and we saw the pit strategy worked out for Peters last week, got him out in front after the pit stops took place last time out. So once again, it might be up to the pit crews to get those cars out, and the strategies that play out that will be the difference between winning and losing. So now we see Peters, in addition to Libby, gets by Kibbe, and now Libby and Peters up to 5th and 6th already. They've been doing such a great job from the back of the field.
A couple of drivers that know how to handle a race car as the tires start to wear off, as the fuel starts to burn off the back of the race car as well, and it's going to lighten the load on the back of the car. It's going to lighten it up just a little bit, lift it up just a little bit. You can see 7 of Corey Casagrande, high, wide, and handsome. Going to lose a couple of spots there. Dale Glessner gets by, Bowler gets by. The 6 car of Miller gets by, and a couple of cars coming down pit road. Kenny Kibbe in the 4 with Brent Roy in tow, and the 26 car, Dan Winter, going to come down pit road as well. Almost missed the entrance, but he's able to get down in there in that 81 car. Some more green flag pit stops here at Twin Ring.
Yeah, and you can see from Kibbe and Roy, they were kind of slipping back there a little bit. So it might be good. If we're going to end up having a full round of green flag pit stops, you don't want to stay out there too long, because then you're going to lose track position by running too many laps on older tires. So we'll see what happens here. Right now, Messer and Daddio are still having a good run here up front as they put a lap on Kibbe and Roy. So you're not going to be able to pit without losing a lap here. But Daddio all over the back of Messer now. He's been able to reel him in for that top spot. We could see quite a few lead changes in this particular race.
Corey Casagrande, Evan Bollier, and Austin Belke down on pit road here on lap number 31. Messer, Daddio, and Farrell all going to go by. That's Brent Roy in the 26 car. Farrell a little bit further on back, but that is a testament right there. Brent Roy coming down pit road a lap ago to get tires, and that shows just how much quicker he is in that 26 car. Ryan Salvatore now in the number 12. He's going to bring the RSAL TV machine down to the attention of his crew to get some work done on that machine, and you can see Brent Roy going to get his lap back the hard way in that 26 car. Going to go down around our leader, Ryan Messer, in the number 1. He's going to make that racetrack work for him, as we are just about halfway. Just kidding, we are halfway. 32, 64, 65, carry the 1. Halfway here at Twin Ring.
Yeah, and so that means some of these drivers might be able to make it on only one stop. Um, but once again, track position, track position, track position. You see, Brent Roy was able to unlap himself, but if you're only making one pit, if someone's only making one pit stop and you're making two, that's a lot of track position still, no matter how new your tires are. So a lot could change, though. We could see a late yellow, and that'll change the game once again. So Dale Glessner currently running in 10th, a nice recovery for him after the issues right from the get-go in this race. And now we see Glessner's going to pull low, but I think it's kind of interesting right now to see, okay, who's going to come down pit road and who's not. And some of these drivers kind of looks like they're a little bit trying to fake out others, and Kenny Kibbe's now trying to unlap himself, but Messer playing the protective role here, still leading this race and wants to keep some of these drivers a lap down in case there's a yellow flag that comes out.
And that
Oh, we
might
got
be
some on
it.
dirt track now.
Holds on to it, still green. He is able to collect it. Scott McDonald in the 44, not following the arrow on the hood. Went a little bit sideways there in the 44 Mustang. He's going to drive past the entrance of pit road, but he is still going, still moving, still up to speed as he gets up through the gears. And we stay green here on lap number 35. Scary situation. Could have been a whole lot worse.
No scar there, like the yellow flag coming out. Messer's staying out, Daddio's staying out, Farrell, Libby, Peters, all staying out on the racetrack right now. Definitely a deviation between strategies here, with some pitting early and getting those fresh four tires or right side tires, and some deciding to stay out and do the best they can as they put a lap on Jeff Brown. A few more coming down pit road. Is that John Peters I see?
That it is the reigning defending two-time champ, giving up the top 10, giving up the top 5 to come down to the attention of his crew. Keith Lord right in behind him with the 17 car, going to get 4 tires and some Sunoco race fuel. It's only, $38 a gallon now, I think. But here you can see still battling it out for the lead. Up front, oh, just kidding. Ryan Messer going to give up the lead. Come on down pit road in the 1 car. Steve Daddio going to inherit the lead, cross the stripe, lead himself a lap. Zane Farrell back up to second. Ryan Libby, Michael Hopkins, DJ Gerard still the top 5. Brandon Newhouse, John Miller going to come down pit road, and Keith Lord, little bit of an extended stop, but he's going to come off there in the 17 New Hampshire car, clean and green. So green flag pit stops continue here on lap number 37.
Yeah, maybe some of these guys are trying to stretch it because of those nasty fuel and tire costs these days. but seriously, we still see out front it's Steven Daddio still working his way through turn 4 and across the stripe. A couple more coming down pit road. It's hard to tell when some of these guys arc it out of turn 4 whether they're gonna dive low and come down pit road or just hang out for another lap. And we see some of them do and some of them don't. Ryan Libby, one of the fastest cars we've seen so far today, is on pit road, as well as Mike Hopkins. I believe that's Jason Ricker. Whole lot going on. Is that Zane Farrell?
Zane Farrell down there as well. 4 cars getting some service done to their machines. Steve Daddio going to come down now, and it's a very tricky pit road entry here. Getting these guys slowed down is definitely a tall order. There you see Ryan Libby going to inherit the lead now, crossing the stripe on lap number 39. Dale Glessner in the 10 car moves up into second. Charles Lewandowski, haven't mentioned his name all night long, up 19 spots, still has to make that pit stop, but he's currently running in the 3rd position. Brian Shipp up now to 4th. Brent Roy in 5th. And Brent, I believe, is going to be the first car that has come down pit road. And you can see the 01 slow down on the apron, potentially coming down to get some service from his pit crew.
Maybe not so fast. Well, we're on the backstretch right now, so he might be getting ready. But, he's got all those new and used parts from his business, Chalu Performance, to maybe stretch it a little bit more on the durability. So, but right now we see Ryan Libby looks to be the new leader for now. Although I don't think he's gotten completely up to speed just yet. Lots of coming and going here going on, so it's hard to tell. There's Steven Daddio coming back on the racetrack. Uh, we'll have to see what timing and scoring says the next time by to see who's running where. Dale Glessner, I believe he came down pit road the initial lap when after that yellow flag, so that's probably why he's able to stretch it just a little bit more. But he's going to be due for a pit stop, and I believe here he comes in.
That leaves 3 drivers still on track that have to come down and get service one more time. Libby, Lewandowski, and Ship all been out there for 40 laps on this set of tires. Glessner came down under that first caution, but he needs tires. He needs fuel. He's going to come down to the attention of the 10 crew. Ryan Libby getting passed now by some of the lapped cars, getting their lap back the hard way, and you can see the 46 car definitely much, much slower on those older tires, and not going to be able to get down this time even if he wanted to with 25 laps to go, because everybody kind of passed him there on the bottom side of the racetrack. And taking a peek at timing and scoring, that 9 car, Jason Ricker, first car 1 lap down, but he is right in behind the leader. Looks like he's going to get that lap back, and he's bringing the 3 car with him, the 6, the 17, the 12 are Ryan Salvatore, Scott McDonald up in the mix as well. So all these drivers trying to get around our leader, Libby, and you can see everybody using the bottom side, so it's going to be tricky for the 46 car to get down to the entry of pit road.
Yeah, and I must have been mistaken because I thought Libby came down, but it's clear that he hasn't with the old tires that he's on. And, yeah, he's going to have to stay out another time. And very interesting strategy for Libby. Lewandowski's still out there, 12 seconds back. Brian Ship was looks like he's one that hasn't come down pit road either. Brent Roy might be might be up front among the drivers that have pitted. So the early leader might be back in the lead before too long.
Yeah, and you can see the 26 car looks good, getting closer and closer to those top 2 drivers, Ryan Libby, Charles Lewandowski. And you can see just how much slower those drivers are. Libby down on pit road, going to give up that lead. And we'll see where he comes out, losing a lot of time to these drivers out on track on those older tires. But he's going to come on down. I believe the 01 is going to come down as well. Lewandowski going to give up the 2nd position, and that's going to give the lead right back to the 26 car of Brent Roy once he comes across the stripe here with 22 laps to go.
Yeah, and he's got a pretty comfortable lead here. We'll have to see what the margin is once second place, which is currently Brian Ship, who hasn't pitted yet. Kenny Kibbe, I think, is the next of the drivers that have, and he's almost 4 seconds back from Brent Roy. So great strategy out of Brent Roy's crew to get out there and get some comfortable track position there. John Peters is up to 4th, and Ryan Messer slipped back just a little bit. He's running 5th now with Steven Daddio and Zane Farrell behind him. And there's Peters right now on your screen, running in the top 5. We saw him come from worst to first last week. Can he do it again? He may need a yellow flag in order to do that, although we still have 20 laps to go. You know, if you're faster by a certain margin each lap, you could potentially make up that ground. But with how close these competitors are in lap times, that's going to be a tall order for John Peters without a yellow.
100%. You can see Roy still has about a 4.5 second lead over Kenny Kibbe. Brian Ship still have to come down pit road. John Peters in 4th, Ryan Messer in 5th. And one thing we got to keep in mind, Brent Roy, that pit stop, 10.3 seconds. So that tells me he took 2 tires on that last pit stop and fuel. So we'll see if that affects the handling. We'll see if he slows up here as the run goes on. But 20 laps to go. Brent Roy, the leader, 2-tire pit stop.
Yeah, that definitely could play into the conclusion of this race. We've seen how fast some of these cars have dropped off running on older tires. If you can go the whole 65-lap distance on those left sides, it remains to be seen. But Roy comfortably out front, though, right now. He's actually extended that lead on Kibbe almost to 5 seconds. And but he's going to have some slower traffic in front of him as Brian Ship finally comes down, that dilly-dilly number 48. And he's going to relinquish that top 10 spot that he's been holding on to, and he's going to come down for some fresh rubber. Good to see Brian Ship having a solid run, though. um, towards the top of that pylon.
5 seconds now to lead for Brent Roy over Kenny Kibbe. John Peters has moved himself up into a podium spot, currently holding on to third in that '09 car, showing why he's the two-time reigning and defending series champion on his way to a third championship. Ryan Messer in the one car, right in behind him, Steve Daddio, still holding on to a top five there in the '99 car.
Yeah, we'll see what Messer and Daddio can do here. They've been keeping Peters within reach, and they were a couple of the front runners there for a good portion of that green flag run before the green flag pit stops. Also had to see what Zane Farrell does. He slipped back a few seconds from Daddio, and as there you can see the lap differences between Daddio and Farrell right now. Farrell's actually been slipping up a few tenths each of the latest laps. So he's going to need to pick it up. As right now he's got a 3-second advantage on Bollier in seventh, but that could evaporate pretty quickly. But Stephen Daddio having some impressive lap times here in that number 99, hanging right there in the top five, and anything happens, he could be right there ready to pounce. We have 17 laps to go. Still haven't seen a yellow since very early in this race.
Yeah, a pair of quick cautions early on here, and it's been clean and green ever since. And Brent Roy walking away with it. 5.5 seconds now to lead over Kenny Kibbe in the number 4 car, John Peters. 6.2, 6.3 or so seconds back. So Brent Roy using that clean air, coming up on some lap traffic here. So doing pretty well, holding on to it. And you can see the lap times between first and second have kind of evened out just a little bit last time by Kenny Kibbe. Able to close the gap just a little bit. You got to figure there was a little bit of lap traffic involved there. But that 26 car, pretty fast up front.
Yeah, Brent Roy is doing a good job. Very solid here out front. And yeah, I have a feeling if we don't get a yellow, this is Brent Roy's race to lose. So right now he's just holding that wheel the way it needs to be and running a great line here in that number 26. Meanwhile, further back, checking in on Ryan Libby there, as we saw he was came down to pit road pretty late. He's back to 11th, but you can see he's running a bit faster lap times now on slightly fresher rubber. So came in a little bit later, but now the car's coming in as he's right on the tail of Johnny Miller in 10th, and he's going to easily get by to get back into the top 10. So let's see what happens here. We have to keep an eye on Ryan Libby to see if he can make up some ground as these laps wind down.
Yeah, Libby's going to need this thing to stay green for the entirety of the rest of the race. And you can see Daddio moving around the 4 car, going to take that position. John Miller in the 6 car going to come down pit road. I believe that's an unscheduled stop. We'll have to double check on that. But the 6 car going to come on down. And John Peters going to move around the number 1 car for the second position. Ryan Messer back to third. John Peters up to second. And now he's going to set his sights on Brent Roy. And you can see there on the live timing and scoring that gap shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. Here comes John Peters.
And I'm not sure what happened to Kenny Kibbe there. He was previously in second, but as we can see, he's all the way back to fifth now. Second through fifth, all in this one pack all of a sudden. And yeah, that interval just by the second continues to slow down. Peters, Messer, and Daddio reeling in Roy slowly but surely. Kibbe struggling with something right now in fifth spot. As there we see a little further back outside the top 10, Corey Casagrande, Keith Lord. Saw them both in the top 10 earlier on, but they're hugging that white line right now and having a race of their own just outside the top 10.
And you can see a lot of damaged race cars kind of cosmetically throughout the field here, a little bit further on back outside the top 10. There you see DJ Gerard just outside the top 10 in 11th. Car looks relatively clean. For the number 13, he's got Jason Ricker, Corey Casagrande right behind him for position, and Evan Bollier holding on to the 10th spot, and he's trying to chase down Brandon Uhouse as we kind of skip around the field and check in, see how everybody's doing. You see Mike Hopkins in the 78 car looks clean, car looks mean. He's holding on to the 7th spot. He's up 8 spots from where he qualified. Zane Farrell dropping back after those pit stops, holding on to 6th. Kenny Kibbe, we made mention, dropping back to 5th, and it does seem like that car's handling is off just a little bit coming off of the corners there. It's going to be interesting to see how that all falls out here with 11 laps to go. Steve Daddio in the 99 car, now all over the back bumper of Ryan Messer, trying to get himself a podium finish to see if he can get into that third spot. And they still have John Peters right in front of him, but Brent Roy's still the leader with 4.25 seconds between he and John Peters in second.
Yeah, this race might not be over just yet. And Messer have a podium run yet, so this is a best career run potentially for him. And John Peters having a good run as well in second, and slowly but surely reeling in on Brent Roy with less than 10 laps to go now.
And live TV is one of the coolest things that we can ever have when it works when we need it to. Less than 10 laps to go. Video feed has cut out, but we're going to get that back and running here in just a moment's time. We apologize for the technical difficulties there, and we apologize if anybody's eardrums got blown out with that weird noise, whatever the heck that was. But we'll get everything back up and running here shortly. And when we do, we'll catch the end of the race here. We'll see if Brent Roy can hold on to it. But we're going to take just a quick break, get all these cables sorted back out. Don't go anywhere, though. We will be right back with the end of the race here from Twin Ring. Getting the cables all squared away, just about back live here with the video feed. We apologize for the temporary inconvenience, but we will catch the end of this race. Just waiting for the final touches to be put on here, and we will be back live racing. And it looks like Brent Roy's still holding on to the lead with 3 laps to go, with 2 laps to go. Caught it just in time for the end of the race. Popsicle sticks in the air for Brent Roy.
Yeah, and I think now we're going to need a yellow in order for this race to change. As we saw them, they were little by little into Brent Roy's advantage, but 3.5 seconds, that's a good bit to make up right now. But John Peters may have to settle for second on this occasion. Ryan Messer, though, continuing his role with a podium run, and he stretched it a little bit over Stephen Daddio. Zane Farrell is back up to fifth, and Ryan Libby, we were talking about before, he's up to sixth, but with the white flag coming out, that might be it for as far as he's able to move up. So Brent Roy out front, and now it's just hit all your marks on this final lap, and he's got it for the second win of the year. So Brent Roy coming off the backstretch, going to enter turn 3 here, and Paul, will let you call him home.
Taking the Recar Camry, the Camry Kid, the number 26 car, coming out of turn number 4, win number 2 on the season. Brent Roy going to come home with the victory, with the trophy, the Japanese trophy from Twin Ring. John Peters going to come all the way back up from starting shotgun on the field to finish second in the 09 car, padding that championship points. And I believe we can call John Peters a 3-time champ because he came in with just about a 50-point lead. So great racing season for the 09 camp. And Ryan Messer in the 1 car going to come home with the podium in that number 1 spot, matching his qualifying position, as did Brent Roy. So pretty good run there. Steve Daddio finishes in 4th, and Zane Farrell rounds out the top 5.
Yeah, Ryan Messer, next year's NEP, if he runs the full season, we might have to watch out for him as a championship contender. But rounding out the top 10, we talk about Ryan Libby. He was able to move up, but only up to 6th in the end. Michael Hopkins, good run for him in 7th. Kenny Kibbe, 8th. Brandon Newhouse, 9th. And DJ Gerard with a good top 10 finish as Brent Roy lights those tires up, what remains of them, on the number 26 Camry.
And we're going to talk to the top 3 finishers here in the post-race show and find out what the strategy was. And as he burns what's left of those tires down, Brent Roy, 2-tire stop. Is that what got you out front?
Absolutely. Track position is key here, and we lost it early. We had to get it back, and that was about the only way we were going to be able to do it. And just kind of pray to God that it was going to run green, and it certainly did. So I'm thankful for that.
Got out to 4-5-second lead towards the end of that one. Started to shrink just a little bit as the right sides or the left side started to wear, but still able to hold off John Peters, the reigning defending 2-time champ, almost 3-time champ, by about 3.5 seconds. So as the run went on, did the handling really go away, or did the car just seem to get slower with the older tires?
It just kind of seemed to slow down. The 2 tires wasn't really that big of a deal. The left sides weren't worn so bad, but it just the overall pace seemed to slow down, but it seemed to be even with everybody else. So we were okay with that for sure. Just hoping it ran green.
And ran green it did. Long green flag run to close out the race after just a pair of cautions earlier on, but a phenomenal points night. Going to move up, I believe, 1 spot, depending. Well, nope, Zane was 2 spots, 3, 4, 5 spots. Points are going to be tight for the top 5. Everybody pretty much second on back. So a good points night. 2 wins on the season. 1 more race here at Dover for 100 laps. The Shift Marketing Design Championship Showdown. You got anything for the mile track?
We'll see. We're not too good at Dover. I was really looking forward to this race. This is one of my favorite races, home track for Toyota, which is really nice. So, but I'm not too excited for Dover. That'll be, get what we can get. It's going to be tight for 3rd place. It'll be really nice to get 229, 123 in points here this year.
And points are going to be a big show or a big story in 2 weeks' time at Dover for the 100-lapper. But the winner tonight for the NineSix Industry 65 here at Twin Ring, Mo Teggy. Appreciate the pronunciation before the race. Got to give you an opportunity here to thank everybody on that 26 car who makes it happen for the virtual 2-6.
Absolutely. Yeah, really appreciate you guys putting it on, and Vidane and NEP for putting on the league, the boys over at TCM for everything they do for the sport, Sewell's Paving, Remax, East Coast Elite Realty, Michelle Roy, Tucker Appraisals, Tucker Graphics, making this thing look good, YRD for putting up with my crazy designs at times too, and a big shout out to my teammates over at 229 Autosport. We got a P1, P2 here tonight, which is always nice. And like I said, see if we can get 1, 2, 3 in the points here next weekend.
100%. A great run here tonight, and really showing them how to run these super speedways, these big tracks, the 1.5-milers. Good run. Congratulations on the victory.
Thanks, guys.
And we're going to slide it down a little bit further on down pit road. Aaron, you've caught up with the reigning and defending 2-time champ, potentially 3-time champ, but we're going to save that celebration for 2 weeks' time at Dover. You've caught up with John Peters.
Yeah, John, coming from the back once again and nearly pulling off a victory once again, but one spot short. What ended up being the difference there? Was it the strategy that Brent took?
Yeah, I think we might need to go away from asking Larry Mack the trends. I think we might just want to go to Brent because he's got these trends nailed, and he did it again. He did it at Charlotte earlier this year, and he did it tonight where he beat us all on pit road. So congrats to Brent. Super smart move, and he went out there and won the race, and we just came up a little bit short. I think I was catching him for a while there, just with the bit of fresher tires I had. And eventually, things seemed to kind of equal out, and that's about all I could get. So just too little, too late, but nevertheless, a really fun race. And congrats to Brent. Nice to be 1-2 with him again.
Yeah, definitely a great run. And what was what did you need to do here at a track like this between Ring Motegi when it seemed like the outside wasn't really coming in to begin with, but when you have to start in the back, there's a lot of ways that you have to find to move up positions. Is it just kind of watching for mistakes from people and capitalizing?
Yeah, I think for a couple laps, you want to take advantage of the freshness of the tires, and I tried to go outside and go around some people there at the beginning of the race, and that seemed to work when the tires were that fresh. And then after a certain amount of laps, maybe 5 or so, it's all about tire conservation. The track chews up right front tires really, really hard. So I figured if I did a good job saving my tires at some point, guys would start to fall back to me, and I'd kind of be able to pick them off one by one. And then it ultimately came down to pit strategy there, and we still had a long run to the checkered. So I also made sure I paced myself there so I didn't blow the tires off it again. But it's a fun track, really. It almost the way you have to run the apron, it's kind of like Atlanta, which I enjoyed it. It's definitely a finesse track and requires you to stay up on the wheel. So I know we get strung out. It's a huge track, but there's a lot going on inside the cars for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely fun watching us see how it played out. Coming up next, Dover in a couple weeks. Now that you kind of have the championship pretty much all locked up, what do you think about Dover coming up? Just being able to go out there and go for the win.
Yeah, Dover's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy racing there. We had a really fun race there last year where tire strategy came into play too. It's one of my favorite tracks on here, so I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a little bittersweet to see season 3 wrap up, but it's been fun all year long, and we'll try to put some more money in the pocket of G&G's gift.
Yeah, definitely. And who else would you like to thank for this second place run?
Yeah, thanks to you guys, Aaron and Paul, for doing this. We certainly appreciate it. Thanks to Corey and Zane and NineSix Industries for sponsoring tonight, I believe. Thanks to my fiance and my 2 dogs for letting me do this. It's been a very busy couple weeks. We're getting ready to turn our real season loose here. So a lot of long nights recently, but I appreciate their support. My mom and everyone who's watching. G&G's gift. Now it's $150 for the foundation, which is awesome. So thanks to them and everyone who supports that. Libby Septic Service, Digby's Variety, 4 Season Synthetic, Derek Nealon Racing, Turn 4 Automotive, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
That's John Peters, your second place finisher. We'll see you then, and I'll actually probably see you at Hickory here coming up, correct?
That sounds good. We'll be there.
All right.
And sliding on down pit road just a little bit further, catching up with Ryan Messer, the number 1 car, finishing P3 where he qualified. Ryan, talk to us, man. Great run here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was a very fun one.
1.5 super speedway out in Japan, and really showed that the tires kind of made some good racing side by side, little bumper to bumper, some battles all night long here. Did you have any kind of strategy as far as that one pit stop mid race, or was it just kind of let the cards fall as they fall?
No real strategy. I waited a little longer than I maybe should have to pit. Didn't really come out where I wanted to, but it worked out all right in the end. Probably maybe next time would pit a little bit sooner. But no, it was definitely all in the pit strategy, and Brent hit the nail right on the head tonight. He did a good job. I got into him in lap 5, and that was 100% my fault. I was looking in the mirror when I shouldn't have, so I'm glad it worked out the way it did, and no, glad to get a top 3.
Good, pardon me, good solid run here with 1 race left to go in a 2 weeks time. Got a little bit of time to get some practice in next week potentially. Have you got anything for these guys at Dover?
Dover's probably one of my worst tracks on the sim, but I'll have to maybe put in a few practice laps and see if I can hang with them.
Definitely looking forward to it as we come to a close. As John Peters made mention, kind of bittersweet to see season 3 end, but it's been a phenomenal season so far, and 1 more race to go. Looking forward to it, and then we're on to season 4. We'll see if we can get that penciled in come fall, winter time, but we got some real racing stuff to get to before all that happens. So want to give you the opportunity here, Ryan. Thank anybody that makes it happen here for you for the Virtual 1 team.
I gotta thank just my family for all watching. I think they're all tuned in tonight, I'd imagine. So thank them for always tuning in to sport. And I'm gonna thank my real world sponsors: Waterfront Pub and Eatery, Dana's Collision Centers, Moffitt's Convenience Plus, Castrol Racing, Bumper to Bumper, Wonder Muffler, Excel Manufacturing, Thunder and Lightning Motorsports, and Watson's Home Hardware. Kojak's, Petro-Canada, Cabin Restaurant, Northeast Distributors, Speedy Auto Services, and MC Hammer. Thank you guys for broadcasting the races. Always good to go back and watch, and gives us something fun to do over the winter.
100%, and it's been great to watch, and really kept the racing bug kind of taken care of here. But a good run here tonight at Twin Ring, and we're on to Dover in 2 weeks. We'll see you then.
Yep, see ya.
So another good race in the books here. A couple of quick cautions early on, and then green all the way through. Brent Roy comes home with the victory, and 1 more race to go, Aaron. 2 weeks' time. We're going to be racing at Dover for 100 laps. I am pumped.
Yeah, definitely. 100-lap showdown. That's going to be very interesting. We saw, sounds like some mixed feelings about Dover. So we'll have to see how it all pans out. It's going to be pretty interesting. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks.
100%. Got a little bit of TCM action coming up next week. We got TCM Live, episode number 53 next Wednesday. Going to talk to some drivers from the maritime area of Canada. I think I said that right. But lots of stuff coming up here on Verdane TV, and lots of real racing stuff coming up too. Make sure you go check out your Short Tracks website, their Facebook, their Twitter. Find their schedule and get your butt out to a racetrack. Bring a friend, bring 2 friends, bring all your friends. Get out there and have yourselves a little bit of fun. Want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitch. Finally got the simulcast working with the Twitch, twitch.tv/strictly94. A lot of Grand Theft Auto content over there as well when we're not doing this racing thing. But that's going to call it a night here for us at Verdane TV. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. up here in the booth with Aaron Creed. We will see you in 2 weeks' time when we go racing once again. It'll be NEPs Night in America for the very final time in Season 3. When we do that, we're going to be doing it live. We'll catch you on the flip side.